Meanwhile, a portion of a U.S. Navy Pacific fleet has been rerouted to the Korean Peninsula. The aircraft carrier USS Carl Vinson and its fighter wing jets was originally bound for exercises in ports of call in Australia when it changed course from Singapore on Saturday. Manila Chan has been following this story for us tonight with more. Manila?
Right, and on Saturday, President Trump rerouted the naval armada, the Carl Vinson, flanked by 3 destroyers and cruisers, now en route to mainland Asia. Many say as a show of force to the regime in North Korea by the Trump administration. And by Sunday, the president's cabinet made their rounds on the Sunday talk shows to justify this move. First, by the U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson.
President Xi clearly understands and I think agrees that the situation has intensified and has reached a certain level of threat that action has to be taken. And indeed, the Chinese even themselves has said that they do not believe the conditions are right today to engage in discussions with the government in Pyongyang. And so what I think we're hopeful is that we can work together with the Chinese to change the conditions in the minds of the DPRK leadership, and then at that point, perhaps discussions may be useful.
And Michael Flynn's replacement, new National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster, said this, quote, North Korea has been engaged in a pattern of provocative behavior. This is a rogue regime that is now a nuclear-capable regime. The president has asked to be prepared to give him a full range of options to remove that threat to the American people and to our allies and partners in the region. Now, this move comes just on the heels of Chinese President Xi Jinping's visit to President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate, where, according to officials, the 2 presidents discussed China's position on North Korea. Now, for decades, China has maintained not only a diplomatic relationship with the so-called Hermit Kingdom, but due to its geographic proximity to the DPRK, has been forced to bridge any differences because they share a nearly 900-mile-long border. But put bluntly, China has risen to become a global superpower and needs to have allies in the area. There are political flashpoints between China and Japan over territory in the Diaoyu Senkaku Islands. They've got disputes with South Korea over territory, but much of China's issue with South Korea is really that Seoul has allowed a large U.S. military presence, which puts U.S. troops easily within striking distance of China just across the Yellow Sea. This makes Beijing quite uncomfortable, despite the friendly relations between the U.S. and China. And according to Rex Tillerson, President Xi has expressed his concern over the new leader, Kim Jong-un, and his nuclear ambitions. However, little has been said on President Xi's part on what his administration would do to handle this nuclear threat. Now, since the North Korean regime learned of the incoming U.S. fleet, Kim Jong-un has actually vowed to ramp up their development of an ICBM that would be capable of carrying a nuke to the U.S. mainland. And Ed, just today, China and South Korea have agreed to impose tougher sanctions against the DPRK if they conduct any further nuclear or ballistic missile tests. This announcement just days ahead of a North Korean national holiday on Saturday. That is the birthday of the DPRK's founder, Kim Il-sung, the grandfather of Kim Jong-un. And what do you guess they do on this day? They launch missiles. So Saturday may be a catalyst or a tipping point for the U.S. intervention there in Asia, Ed.
Okay, thanks, Manila. Appreciate that tonight.